Alright, so we're back again with the RC10GT. In the previous few episodes, we've gotten a lot done on these 5 cars, but in this episode in particular, we're going to focus on these 2. The original electric conversion and this gas-powered one that I picked up. I've already done the overhaul, and I've already done the bench testing. When I take the igniter off, the engine stalls immediately, so I'm going to put a new glow plug in it and test it out. And with the electric conversion, I've already done the testing as well, and I've gotten it pretty much to the point where we just have to paint the body. So we'll give this the maiden voyage to test everything out and see how it works. I've gotten the tires glued, so that's what we'll do. Then after that, we'll get these tires glued so we can have the second electric conversion on a set of wheels, and we're going to install these servos in the re-release. So I'm going to start with this Nitro one. I mentioned in the past that I'm going to have to figure out how to make it so the dog bones have less play, but it also had 3 leaking shocks. You can see it's slick around here. When you touch it, there's oil residue. And it's definitely the same case here for the rears. Both rears are really bad. This one's worse. You can just see how it's squatting. So I know that the shocks are shot on this one, but I'm at least going to test it, make sure that it operates otherwise. So that's what we're going to start with. And we'll drive this one. Alright, so I got a new glow plug in there. The Traxxas 1.5 air filters are a little too small to go on the carburetor. So I found this old Thunder Tiger one. There's only 1 foam in there. Usually there's 2, but the foam's still good. But I was able to get the car started, and as soon as it did get started, I noticed that the dog bone started to spin. So I am going to have to find some stuff to fill that space, just because there's too much play here. So I'm going to do that and then take this out to get started and see about testing it. Alright, so got the fuel line in so the dog bones don't have that play anymore. And I noticed that there was a bunch of fuel in the cooling head, and I think that's because the threads of that HSP glow plug that I tried to put in here don't match exactly with the Team Associated engine. So basically there was air getting through, so I put the old plug back in because it glows bright, and then I just started it, and then when I would take the igniter off, it would stall immediately like it did before. But I had charged the igniters after the initial test, so there's more juice there. So I decided to try to give it some throttle while I was about to remove the igniter, and it did stay running. So I think it's at the point now where the bench testing is good, and we'll take it outside and give it a real test. But I don't expect much. I'm going to need some new glow plugs, and I need some new switches. I have the battery going directly to the receiver. So that's good. We got the play out of the dog bones. We know that these shocks are leaking, both of the rears and one of the fronts. And yeah, so we'll just test this with what it is now, and hopefully it works. If it works, that's great. If it doesn't, I know where we need to make some changes. And yeah, let's get to it. One more thing I wanted to quickly note is after I fully redid this and cleaned the engine and reassembled it, I didn't clean out one of the channels in the carburetor, so the engine was not receiving fuel through the carburetor. So I had to pop the engine out, take the carburetor apart again, and make sure that the channels were free. I don't know exactly what the term for this part of the carburetor is, but it's this piece right here where the high-speed needle injects to, and it passes through that piece to get to the rest of the carburetor. So that's what was gummed up. So with your team associated stuff, you just want to make sure that that area in particular gets cleaned out, because it's easy to get congested in there. So just something to pay attention to. Even after you clean something, always double check it, make sure the channels are fully clear. I thought I had done that, but I didn't. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. The rear suspension really is going to need some work. It's basically dragging ass. Would you look at that? Well, just after I got the engine tuned proper, I messed with the high-speed needle and the idle. The shock mount screw or nut, the plastic nut, came off. So got to run at least a half a tank through it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a new nut and then refill the tank, try to run one full tank through it as is. Maybe that's why it was so low, because this popped off and I just didn't notice. I just looked around the yard, couldn't find it. So I'm gonna go get a new one. I'll be right back. That's awesome. This thing was neglected probably for a decade, and all I did was clean it up and reassemble it. Everything works as it should. first nitro session of the year can mark down as a success. This may need some more fine tuning, but for now I think it drives okay. If you've seen the previous episodes, you know where this car started and what it's gone through to be able to function as it is now. This is pretty boring, driving back and forth. It's going to be a lot of fun on the track though. Yeah, there's too many sticks to drive in the grass right now. I gotta get out there and start my work. Experience tells me that it's times like these where you quit while you're ahead. It's also just about out of fuel, so definitely don't want to have any crashes. But yeah, I would say this is a success. Gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do with the shocks. I'm gonna just run them as they are, or try to get like a rebuild kit, replace them with more modern ones. I'm not sure yet. I'm less concerned about that. I definitely want to get a switch for this thing because I don't like the batteries. To not have a switch, basically. So that was success. Let's bring it back up into the lab. Had to replace that shock stay. So I would say that that was a good first nitro session of the year. I'm happy with this. I know I can not worry about having to do too much to get it going fully. One of the next things I'll have to do is get this one tested. But yeah, success. Gosh, that was so rewarding. Looking forward to trying this one too. The glue held up. Oh, I only glued the rears, never mind. The glue held up fine. so that's good. Chassis got a little dirty just from the engine, but yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with these shocks. You can see all the oil all over the rod end. But yeah, here's under the hood with the electric conversion. I'll call this the electric conversion 1 just because I got it complete first. If you've seen the previous episodes, you've seen the donor cars be turned into these. I had to mess with the steering. The splines, when the servo is zeroed out, don't line up perfectly straight, so I forget which way I had to put it. Yeah, all the way to the left. This should be fun. Custom color carbon on eBay is where you can get this carbon fiber kit. They come in different variants. You can get the full conversion kit with the electric conversion that goes on the transmission and for the battery, or you can just get the shock towers and braces. I have 2 of the full conversion kits, 2 in yellow as you can see. And then I got some of the other bling just for the for one of the other Nitro ones. I have some nice aluminum shock towers on there, so I didn't get the full shock tower kits, but I like the company and I wanted to use some more of their product. So let's get out there and give this one its maiden voyage before I get the body painted for it. So what I want to look for now is the slipper clutch. Seems like some power is getting lost to the transmission. Yeah, I'm gonna have to mess with the differential, tighten that up. I knew it sounded a little funny, like there was some sort of slipping or like gears were too tight, but I know the gear mesh is right. And I've also had this slipping issue from the differential and other team associated vehicles. So what I'll have to do is pop off the rod ends here and then move things away, the dog bone away, and then tighten the differential from one of the sides. I forget which one. So that's where this one stands. These are nice rear tires. I'm going to do what I can to preserve the life of the tread. I'm glad that we didn't spin any wheels on the pavement. I was going to say tarmac. It's not an airport. But anyways, let's see what's going on under there. Let's see. I tightened it as much as I could. All right. I don't like to over tighten things. You can see the wings on the wing nut are still fine, so I think we got the correct tension on the differential. So let's test again. Definitely better than before. I feel like there's still a little bit of slippage though, based off the sound. But definitely progress. I feel like we wouldn't have been able to make any marks in the gravel before. That was essentially the point of this test, was to just make sure it functions properly. I don't think there's too much sense in wearing down the tires tread. Man, that carbon fiber looks good. I don't think these shocks are leaking. Yeah, I think it's topped out with the gearing it has. All right, so that was a successful test for both of these vehicles. This one needs a switch, shock rebuild kit, and or shock replacement. And I just need to monitor the differential for this one. So that's progress on this project. Next things to do is get some bodies painted, obviously, but we'll install the servos on the rear release and forget what else I was going to do. But anyways, that's what we'll do next. Oh yeah, get these tires glued and installed on the GT E2. Alright, so I got the servos installed, the steering linkage is set up, and I'll just have to fine tune it when I get closer to driving it. I'm going to wait to do the throttle linkage until I get the engine. And I just got to paint the body. With this one, I just need to test run it, make sure everything operates, and I need to paint the body. This one just needs to be fine-tuned. Got to drive it successfully today. The rear shocks and one of the front shocks are leaking, so I'm going to have to think about whether or not I'm going to do anything about it. Got the tires glued for the second electric conversion kit. It's nice to see this on wheels. Both of them, for that matter. And we were able to successfully drive this one. Had to tighten up the differential. And now it works. So I just gotta paint the body for that as well. So I have to get the electronics for this second one. But we'll get the bodies painted probably is the next thing to do. So if you've made it this far, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your interest in Nitro and RC for that matter. And you're going to want to stay tuned because we're going to finish this up and I've got some other cool stuff to go over.